Hey guys, this is Athena. I'm in my normal spot, but I am sitting up off the floor and I have the window wide open. Normally I have a painting thing in front of it to block off the ugly background, but I have the window open so that you can hear the weather. I'm going to move you closer for a moment. I would say you guys don't even know, but of course you know. This kind of weather speaks to me. The sirens, not so much. Sorry. All right, I'm going to see if I can balance you. You're on a bunch of pillows, and maybe if we're lucky, we'll catch a little bit of thunder and probably a door slam. But that's perfect because I want to share with you a little ghost story. It's a little early in the year season to be sharing ghost stories, but I just re-listened to the newest episode of New World Witchery, the podcast, my favorite of all the woo-woo podcasts. And at the end of it, they talked about in October, they're going to put out a podcast sharing people's ghost stories. That's not cool. And they have a phone number. And I was about to call the phone number, but I'm not lying when I say I have like a phobia of phone calls. I can talk to my mom comfortably, and that's it. I don't talk to anyone else. And when I do, which is so rare, I'm pacing and out of breath because I'm just like, I got to keep moving. It's weird. You would never believe it because I spent my entire teenage life freaking on the phone. So whatever. I think I burned myself out. That's not what this is about. The point is, I was going to call the number, I had it up and ready to go, and then I thought, well, maybe I'll just record myself talking and then call and play the recording of me talking so that I can delete and edit and fix any of my freak out moments, because that's one of the reasons I don't do phones, is because you can't take things back. I don't know. I'm a dork. So then I thought, well, damn, if I'm going to record stuff, why don't I just make a video? And that leads us to now. So here's my video. Here's what I was going to share with New World Witchery, my own personal ghost story. I don't have many. I got to tell you, Tequila on here, she's got some amazing stories. I'm not one of those people. I don't have amazing stories. I have a couple stories. There's a side of me that wants to open myself up to more, but I'm a little bit afraid of watch what you wish for, because you'll get it. And I'm a little afraid of opening up a door I can't close. So I haven't yet asked for more. There was a period of time in this house that I was certain that there was a ghost in my room, in my closet specifically. And I know that's so cliche and tropey, but here's my story. So this house I'm living in was built new for my ex, my second husband, his family when he was a kid, like a baby. And they moved in their late 70s. No one else has ever lived in this house. They built the house on this land. I've researched this land and I can't find anything, but I will say, without giving away my state, I'm in the South, kind of. Not as deep South as I used to be, but I'm still in the South, and I'm still in Civil War territory. And there's a ton of Civil War battles that have happened near me within an hour, but I don't know about this actual area. We moved in here about 8 or 9 years ago. Once the marriage fell apart, that's been a good 5 to 6 years ago that we split, and he lives in the basement and I've had this room to myself up here. So I know for sure it's been it started about 4 years ago, 4 or 5. But I can't pinpoint exactly. It was definitely at least 4 years ago. And how it began was one night or morning when I was waking, it always happens in that dawn time and right as the sun is coming up. And I'm asleep, but something pulls me out of my sleep. I've never had sleep paralysis. I have no issues with that. A few years ago, I woke up and I think it was my right ear. There was a voice whispering, a male voice whispering in my ear to the point that I could feel the warmth of the breath, and I almost feel like my hair moved. And what he said was kind of embarrassingly cheesy and funny, so I made fun of it for years. I heard in my ear, Jebediah, 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 like chanting, whispering into my ear. And it woke me up, and I was like, what the hell's that all about? So then I made jokes. I told my kids, my older boys, about it. And I think at the time, my second son and I, that's back when we were still like this. And we used to watch Ghost Hunters. So, I mean, you know, that could have tainted my dream. I told him, I was like, oh, I think we have a ghost here. I think Jebediah is haunting us, Mr. Jeb. That was it for about a year, except for tiny, minuscule things. I don't have any of those big experiences that some of the people out there do. One of the minuscule things were, I just sensed that he was in my closet, that he was in the closet bathroom area, which is over there. And again, that seems so tropey, so stereotypical. Whatever. That's where I felt like he was. And I never felt threatened. I just felt a presence. There would be little things like I would have brushed my teeth over right there at the bathroom, brushed my teeth, head in the bed, sitting in bed for a good hour or two, reading or watching Netflix or playing around on my iPad, whatever. A good hour to 2 hours after I had washed my face and brushed my teeth. And I'd be sitting there, and then my toothbrush would jump. It would jump from wherever it was and like that, fall on that. That was funny. My toothbrush would just jump and fall. My reaction to these things is to pretend I didn't notice. That's how I handle ghosts. I pretend I didn't notice. If I'm laying in bed kind of asleep, I pretend I'm asleep. I don't sit up and freak out. I just don't. So my toothbrush would fall. Things would happen. My door would slam a lot. Again, though, I have this window open, so I don't put a lot of stock into the door slamming because that's like an air suction thing. I did download a couple really stupid apps, and some of them are paid for with, you know, up to like $15. One of them is this ghost meter thing, and the ghost meter would go psycho crazy shit in my closet. So I'm like, it kind of feeds into my fear. Thank you for the backup. Thank you for the dramatic effect. It always did. And even if I would delete it and then re-download it and kind of reset it and go somewhere else in the house, I would come back in here and it always went psycho in my closet and said there's ghosts in my closet. So, you know, I'm a little bit gullible enough to be like, I thought so. Anyway, the Jebediah thing happened. Probably within a year, 6 months to a year after the Jebediah whispering in my ear, one morning, and I hope I wrote it down somewhere, but if I did, I don't know where it is. One morning in that early dawn, I'm asleep, and what pulls me out of sleep is my toe. Pretty sure it's my right toe. It's always my right side, which is interesting. But my right toe, I feel this. Oh, God. That was scary. It woke me up. It's not like I'm having a dream. And I mean, that wakes me up. I'm like, what the hell's pulling on my toe when I wake up? And that's that. So I tell people, I think Jebediah like molested my toe last night. What's up, Jeb? Another year passes roundabout. And again, there may be a couple little things here and there. Nothing exciting, I guess. Nothing that is notable. Little noises or door slams or whatever, and I always attribute it to Jeb. About a year later, and this would have been about 2 years ago, I guess, this was my last interaction with any kind of entity, whether it's Jebediah or something else. One morning I'm waking up. It's probably the weekend. I think it's during the school year. It's probably a weekend. Again, it's dawn, so it's probably like 6:30-ish. It's blue in my room. I wake up. I think it was my right arm. I'm 100% sure it was my right arm. My right arm is out, sleeping on my side, and I feel along my arm this with children's voices giggling, at least two, maybe more. Just little giggly, 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 and it wakes me up. It pulls me out of my sleep. I feel it as plain as day. And I finally am like, what the hell? And I open my eyes. I don't react except for I open my eyes, and it's light enough in my room that I can see. And I see nothing, but it continues. The fingers and the giggling continue. And I'm like, holy shit, what is this? Again, I don't get sleep paralysis. It wasn't like I can't move. I was awake. It woke me up. I opened my eyes. I was officially awake, and it's still continuing. And I'm like, I'm not asleep. And it's still happening. So, very shortly thereafter, I went to one of my meetup groups, sharing the story with this couple there, this married couple. Totally normal, cool people, except for they go to witchy meetups. And apparently the husband sees ghosts like we see everything. And because I remember at some point talking about, oh, I'd love to go to Gettysburg with my second son, and because I hear Gettysburg is super haunted. And he's like, I just walked down the street. This place is, there are ghosts everywhere in this city. Because again, this was a huge place during the Civil War. So I shared with them my story about the arm and the giggling and it being children and how I thought that was weird. And they said, well, doesn't that kind of make sense though with you as a teacher? And you always talk about children, and you always talk about how much you love children, and they're your people. You love children more than you love adults. True story. And wouldn't it make sense that children would come to you and be drawn to your light? I was like, damn, that does make a whole lot of sense. Now, I, unlike a lot of people out there, don't automatically attribute children hauntings or children voices to, oh, it's probably a demon in disguise. I think that's a Catholic thing. I've never been Catholic, so it's not a me thing. It actually just felt like children, a couple little giggly children. I don't know if they were related in any way to Jebediah, but all I know for sure is that was my last interaction. And I'm sad to say that. I will say I did a whole lot of saging up in here in this house, and especially in my room. Some of that was because I would have fights with the ex, back when things were volatile. I mean, we're kind of friends now. He, again, lives in the basement. Our kid Poochie lives in the house. Where we live is expensive, so it takes both of us to pay to live here, and it works out perfectly. Daddy just lives in the basement, in the real man cave. We get along perfectly now, but there was a while where things were nasty, and we would have fights, and I would sage the fuck out of this house, partly because he bitched about incense. I'm sorry, what? It's always going 24/7 that I'm here. So we bitched about incense, and so in response to a fight and to him hating stuff, I would sage the fuck out of this house, especially my room. And I'm pretty sure Jeb left me. Jebediah is gone, and I actually kind of miss him because he was harmless. He seemed like a cool dude. He lived in my closet for no particular reason. I'm hoping he moved on and went through the light, and he's up with his people or whatever you do when you're not here anymore. But those are my hauntings. I don't really have too many. I don't really have too many stories. They all, well, that's not true. Most of them, almost all of them center are in this house. There were a couple up in North Dakota, but we'll save those for a different day. That was some weird shit there. I ain't even gonna play. That was some weird shit. Like TV's, volume shooting up and remote controls jumping on the ground, and we're like, what's happening? But that's not our story for today. So, here's my long answer to Corey and Lane and New World Witchery about one of my ghost stories. If you can possibly turn this into anything for your podcast, that would be groovy. But since it's super long, it probably won't happen. Anyway, love y'all. Love all y'all. Let's come over here and enjoy the weather a little bit more. Okay. I'm a dork. You knew that. Let's all just agree to accept that. Love y'all. Take care. Peace.